Mr. Mark Millar. Gosh, I'm quite honored. Thank you for joining. You have been a fan of comics since you were 4. In fact, I read a story where you drew a web on your face in permanent ink and your mother was not too happy.
When I was 7 years old, my first Holy Communion, you're in church, you're with all the kids in school and everything. You have to look at your best, as good as you ever look at 7. And a week beforehand, I drew Spider-Man's web, his masks, across my face in Sharpie pen, kind of magic marker. And I just thought, this looks awesome, you know. And then it didn't wash off. So my Holy Communion photos, 1 week later, you can still see Spider-Man's face over my face. And that's probably my origin. That's the equivalent of Superman's planet exploding or Batman's parents being shot. Me drawing this on my face was my destiny.
There you go. The comic was born. That's great.
It's still there. It's an indelible marker.
A little bit. Well, your career is quite impressive. Writing for things like Superman Adventures, Ultimate X-Men, Kick-Ass, and many, many more. What's your proudest contribution or your most favorite contribution to the medium?
I think each thing has its own nice period, you know, like the years where I was learning was really interesting, even though I wasn't making any money or anything, I had no ownership of the stuff. It was just exciting, getting published and everything was pretty cool, you know. And then when I was 30, it just worked for me, it just clicked. But almost 2 months after my 30th birthday, it just, everything came together and I had my first hit comic. And that was lovely. That's a nice feeling. The idea that something you're doing has been read by a lot of people is nice, and that was a sort of overnight change for me. Then I get headhunted at Marvel, had a lovely 10 years at Marvel, but then I realised Marvel was making a lot of my stories into movies, and I thought I could own these movies if I create my own. So actually Stan Lee said to me, weirdly, and Stan Lee's like the voice of God. That's like God talking to Moses, isn't it? You know, and Stan Lee said to me, you should go off and create your own thing, do what I do, because you're in such a unique situation. I couldn't own Spider-Man and Captain America, you could own your creations. And I was like, that could be awesome, you know. So I went off and created Kick-Ass and Wanted and Kingsman and all these things, you know, and so they've been the sort of 3 stages of my career. Right now I'm sort of halfway through this decade of creating my stuff. I want to create 25 film franchises, comic franchises, video game franchises, and we're on publishing. I'm on number 15 at the moment, and film-wise we're on number 11. Wow. 4 of the movies have been out so far, but within the next 3 years we should have about another 9 or 10 movies out. You know, so it's crazy. You know, I want to just sort of do what Marvel did. I want to be Marvel. That's my plan.
That's actually a great plan. I think you would do very well with being the new Marvel.
Well, it would be nice. I'm hoping, you know, like there's nothing else to do in Scotland. It's cold, it's rainy. To be the new Marvel, that's a nice thing to be.
Exactly,
you know?
why not?
Yeah.
Now, I have read something that you launched.
Yeah.
In 2004. You launched the creator-owned line Millarworld.
Yeah.
Can you tell us something about that?
Yeah, that's when I was still working at Marvel. I'll give this a try, Stan. I'd interviewed Stan actually for a magazine and we got talking, and that's where he did this recommendation. So when I was working at Marvel, I thought, I'll give this a try, I'll create my own stuff and see how it goes. And I still stayed at Marvel for another 5 years, and then by that point, the Wanted movie had come out with Angelina Jolie, and then I had Kick-Ass with Nick Cage and everything, and I thought, this is going pretty good, and I just stopped working at Marvel and went full-time myself. But it all started 2004. I tried 3 projects, put 3 things out there, and they somehow worked, you know, and I, because it was quite a big thing. Most people work for Marvel or work for DC, so it was kind of risky going off and doing your own thing. But I was really lucky; it all kind of clicked into place. Nice.
No, I think it's a great idea with that creator-owned, getting more ownership of the product. I think it's wonderful. And last year you had Millarworld had a contest for writers and illustrators. Yeah. Are you going to do that again for the next year?
Every year? Yeah, we're doing a new. This is something worth checking out. Actually, is every year we're going to do an international talent search, and every year an international cosplay thing as well. So what we're doing is every September we're going to do an international talent search, and we got over 1,000 submissions, which I took 2 weeks off work with a whole bunch of friends, and we sat and read through all the submissions. And we're going to publish an annual every year just for new talent. So we're paying Marvel DC money to people to just be published for the first time, which is quite nice. So I think this time I think we found 13 new people that we published, and it's quite a cool thing to be published, you know, to have your name in print and thousands of copies of your work out there is pretty cool. So that comes out in July. The first one comes out in July, the 2016 annual, and then we'll look for new talent again in September. And the cosplay competition we're running at the moment, and I think in June, July. Actually, I think in July, we're running the winners. 25 pages at the back of one of my comics. We're going to run all the best-looking cosplay people. When I say best-looking, I don't mean most attractive. Just the people who look good in the costumes. Right. You know?
Oh, well, that is very exciting. So check out Millarworld. Okay?
Please do.
Thank you so much for joining us. It was a pleasure.
Thanks for
Thank you.